What's up guys, JayzTwoCents here, and I've been working on the 970 SLI versus 980 Ti hybrid versus Titan X video, so we'll be getting to that shortly. But before we get there, today we're gonna be talking about some audio things. We're gonna take a look at two new products here from Creative. The first one being their Aurvana. A weird name. It's their Aurvana Live headphones, as well as their E1 portable headphone amplifier that runs off a battery and or USB power. First, I didn't think I really would have much use for that, but believe it or not, it actually fixes a problem I had here in the tech cave. Today's video is sponsored by Massdrop, the largest community commerce platform in the world. Head to Massdrop today and suggest something to be dropped. Not like literally drop, but you know, where they bring the price down and stuff. So once again, I gotta give a huge shout out to Massdrop for sponsoring today's video by sending over this stuff. And of course, we only look at stuff that they're doing drops on. So if you guys are interested in these headphones and this amp come by the end of this review, then you can look down in the description. You'll see a link to the drop where you can get discounts on this stuff. The more people that sign up for the purchases, the cheaper it gets. That's the way Massdrop works. I wish more companies worked that way, but then again, if they did, then Massdrop wouldn't exist and then it wouldn't be such an awesome thing. So yeah, other companies don't do that. Just let Massdrop handle it. Now, taking the Aurvanas out of the package, one of the first things that you'll notice is it's very lightweight. And when it comes to headphones and stuff, that can sometimes be a little bit of a throw off. I mean, you kind of think to yourself, well, they're light. And there's that old adage of, well, weight equals quality, but that's not always the case. With headphones, if you have a real heavy headphone, you'll start to get neck fatigue, head fatigue, ear fatigue, fatigue, and all the other kinds of fatigues and stuff. So don't let the weight of them fool you. They do have swivel ear cups. You can actually lay them flat like that and be like, boing, a little stand, isn't that cute? Don't know who would actually do that, but whatever. Now the cans on here are all plastic, but they're a polished black with chrome. I'm not a fan of polished black. I've said this many times. It's going to eventually look scratched and scuffed. So if it were more of a matte color, it would have looked better in my opinion. But this gives it more of kind of an elegant feel. You've got a Chrome Creative raised logo on there. And then you do have leatherette ear cups. Now the ear cups themselves, they do feel like leather. They're extremely soft. They create a good seal around your ears when you put them on. I can't hear anything now. That seal actually makes things nice and isolating the outside noise, so your music is going to sound better, the bass is going to sound better, and you're not going to have as much interruptions from the outside world. How many people put these things on just for the sake of shutting up everyone around them, right? Am I right? You don't want to hear everyone talking when the whole point of this is to enjoy your music and not hear the crap around you. And they are fully adjustable. They go about 1.25 inches on either side in terms of adjustability. So if you've got a big old head like I do, then actually I really don't have a very big head. But if you have a huge head, on top of your shoulders anyway, then these things will fit nice and comfortably. Now the headband's actually not all that big considering the headphones aren't all that heavy, so it doesn't need a huge headband, but it is nice and padded, again with that pleatherette material. And other than that, there's not a whole lot to say about the cans and the headband itself. You do have a lead, a wire lead coming off of each ear, so they're not going into one ear and then through the headband, so you're not going to deal with breaking a wire up here. The downside is you have a wire coming off of each ear, which sometimes people don't like. I personally don't like that. And it is a fully rubberized cable, so it's going to tangle up easier because it's completely rubber. Now when it comes to the specs on this, these are 40mm drivers. They have a 10 hertz to 30,000 hertz, which is, it's kind of interesting because it's wider than the normal 20 hertz to 20,000 hertz that people advertise, because that's kind of the average hearing range of the human ear. I was really interested in how that 10 hertz was going to respond, so I ran these things through Bass Mechanic to see how they sound. We'll talk about that in a moment. Now I'm going to verify this on the box because I actually forgot. Yeah, they are 32 ohms. I didn't want to get that wrong, but they are 32 ohms, and sensitivity at 1 kilohertz is 103 dB, you know, plus or minus. So you actually have pretty decent headphones here. They're not that expensive. They're very lightweight. And they sounded really, really good. And I did run Bass Mechanic with these things to test out some of the different hertz ranges, and I want to say that right around 30 hertz is where we started to get drop off in terms of volume. You did have sound pressure level. You could feel the bass, but you couldn't really hear it much below that because for whatever, you know, the can design, the thin plastic, you know, cans on here, it just wasn't able to actually reproduce 10 hertz. It might be making some sort of SPL or sound pressure level at that range, but you can't really hear it. One, technically it's below the hearing range at least what they say, but two, these just didn't have enough oomph to really do it. Well, of course, sound is always going to be subjective. We all hear a little bit differently, but I will tell you, me being somebody who's into bass but prefers audio clarity over bass, will tell you that these things sound extremely lifelike. I listen to a lot of different types of music on these. I listen to dubstep, I listen to rap, I listen to rock, country, jazz, vocals, classical, and they just didn't really seem to have anything that was out of their spectrum. Usually rock or heavy metal, when it has a lot of crash cymbals and things going on, tends to get very, very just, what's the word I'm looking for here? Anyone who listens to heavy metal knows exactly what I'm talking about. All the sounds will just kind of smash together and it becomes hard to pick out anything in the audio. It's hard to hear the lead guitar. It's hard to hear the bass guitar. It just starts to sound like noise, really. But these were able to really give you good separation of sound. So the bass on these things, although not like Beats by Dre level or Beats by Apple or Beats by whoever bought them this month or whoever Dr. Dre sold out to, it's not that level of bass, but that's good because that level of bass often will give you an imbalanced sound where the bass is too heavy and it just becomes more fatigue for your brain to listen to after a while. I thought they were very balanced and very lifelike. The highs were crisp, the mids were clear, and then the bass was just right, in my opinion. It wasn't too much bass, but it wasn't too little. But they have no inline controls, no extra frills or anything like that. It's just a nice lightweight headphone to keep you on the go and give you nice music in the meantime. Now included with them, it does also have an extension cable on here, as well as a audio adapter here for different size plugs. So you have your 1/4 inch plug here that goes onto your 3.5 millimeters, so you could use these in some sort of a high-end amp or something like that. And then of course it comes with a little carry bag. Now as far as I'm concerned, the star of the show really for today's review is the Sound Blaster E1 HD audio amp. When they asked me if I wanted to do this review, I was almost told them, just send the headphones, don't bother sending the amp. Now, first of all, if we're gonna consider weight and size an indicator of quality, then this thing right here would be absolute garbage because it's tiny and it feels hollow, quite honestly. But this thing actually really surprised me, and I found an alternate use for it here in the office, and I'll talk about that in a second. Now what comes with this guy in the box here is a red, I'm kind of confused on why they chose red, but they chose red. There's a red extension cable here that you can use to plug this into your phone. Remember, this is ultimately a mobile amp. It's a battery-powered amp, and it can clip onto your belt or anything else you want to clip it onto. And then it comes with a USB cable here with a micro USB to standard USB so that you can use it as an audio amp for your computer. And I thought to myself, why would anyone do that? Well, one, this serves as a charger to charge up the internal battery on this, which is non-replaceable. And it also works as an interface with your computer where this can work as a headphone amplifier for anything you have plugged into your computer. And that's the part where I was like, why would anyone want that? If you look right here, it actually has 2 headphone outputs on this. So if you're sitting on the bus or the school bus or the train or whatever you do when you're traveling or you've got someone with you and you both want to listen to music, you can plug this into your phone or your MP3 player and then you can both listen at the same time, independently with your own headphones, whatever headphones you prefer, whether it be some sort of an earbud or a full-on headphone. On the side here, it has your volume slider, so you can control the volume through the amp. You've got your power switch. When you turn that on, you get a little LED indicator. White means you're charged, and when it turns red, it means you're dying. And then it does have a phone call answer button on the side and a play pause button. But it also has a built-in microphone. So you can use this thing if it's clipped onto your shirt or something with your phone and not mess with your phone calls and stuff because you could answer the phone directly through this thing. So it also becomes a smart interface for your phone, which I thought was extremely awesome. But for me personally, I had a problem where people, especially local people, want to come into the studio here and join Tech Talk with me. And I had Fractal Josh here once late last year. And I had a problem with I couldn't get 2 headphones going because my amplifier that I use for my preamp for the microphone does not feed back audio from the system out to the headphone monitor, so we couldn't both listen to headphones, and it was a terrible, terrible arrangement. So now I can use this thing here to get dual headphones if I have an in-person guest, and this actually solves that problem. So there you go, the Aurvanas from Creative as well as their E1 portable amplifier. I gotta say, this thing was absolutely amazing. And I thought maybe plugging in 2 headphones on this thing would have reduced the audio level to both headphones depending on the impedance of them. And it didn't. It did not lower the volume at all. It will probably lower the volume or the battery life, obviously. But I even went as far as to test my AKG K7XXs, which are an audio grade, or sorry, I just clipped that in your ear. My bad. But those are kind of a mid-level audiophile type of headphone that do require a bit of power. I plugged them in directly to my phone and it was not a good listening experience. It wasn't loud enough. It couldn't create enough bass. It couldn't fill out the spectrum of sound for the driver. The phone just doesn't have enough power. But the second I plugged this thing in, it went up quite a few decibels in terms of volume, but the clarity went through the roof. So there you go. I mean, if that doesn't say something, I don't know what does. So tell me what you guys think about this. What kind of portable amp DAC are you guys using? Tell us in the comments, and of course, guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for Massdrop to sending me this to take a look at for you guys. And if you guys are interested in this, of course, at the time of this video going live, because if you're watching from the future, I can't really help you there, then look in the description. You will find a link to the drop, and I get no kickbacks from that. This is just you guys saving money if you're interested in buying this. I don't get anything out of it other than I get to keep the headphones and damp the amp DAC. How about we just call them, well, DACs. Yes, I know they're already called DACs. Anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and get the heck on out of here, guys. Thanks always for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one.